Okay, let's get into this. We've tackled some complex topics before, but today we are diving into something that almost defies logic.
It really does. We're talking about a single digital asset with, what, three completely contradictory identities all at the same time.
Exactly. The domain name is MSBEIN.com. And our sources just paint these wildly different pictures of it.
It's like a Schrodinger's brand, you know? The identity completely shifts depending on how you look at it, which source you're reading. It's a fascinating paradox about value on the internet.
So our mission today is to walk you through these documents we have and just try to make sense of it. How can one brand be a buttoned-up corporate giant, an explicit content creator, and a political voice all at once?
I think the only way to do it is to follow the money first. We'll start with the staggering price tag and the corporate story they're telling. Then we'll map out the digital footprints and finally get into the deep contradictions that make this whole thing so unique.
Right. Let's start there with that big claim, because this is the number that just grabs you immediately. The domain, mustbein.com, is listed for sale for a very, very specific price.
It is. It's $3.04119786.9 billion.
$3.04119786.9 billion.
That precision is, it's a performance, really. It's not just around $3 billion.
Yeah.
Adding all those digits is meant to project this image of a scientifically calculated, serious valuation. It's a power move.
But does anyone really take a number that precise seriously? It feels like just maximalist marketing.
Well, the marketing language we have in the sources, it definitely matches that billion-dollar ambition.
Oh, yeah. It's all about success and ambition. They position it as this super versatile platform for startups, consultants, anyone needing an authoritative online presence.
It is the C-suite pitch, completely distilled. And they even have evidence to back that story up.
Right, the testimonial.
Exactly. There's a specific endorsement from Khalid Omana, the CEO of Sourcing Corporation. He claims the domain tangibly improved their visibility, their credibility, traffic, all of it.
So they're not just selling a name, they're selling the prestige that supposedly comes with it.
And the logistics, the physical details, they really cement this whole corporate image. The contact address they list is 3 Coleman Street, 03 Toom 4 ST, 23410 Singapore. Singapore. That's intentional. It's shorthand for global finance, for trust, for big business. So if you only looked at this first set of documents, you'd see a $3 billion corporate asset based in a major hub of global commerce. That's identity number one.
Okay, so that's the clean corporate billion-dollar version. Now let's zoom out a bit and see how they're actually building a presence online.
Yeah.
For you, the learner, this is a pretty wild case study in maybe brand confusion.
Or brand colonization. I mean, any brand at that level needs to plant its flag on all the major platforms. But when you look closely at what they've actually done, the execution is, well, it's a bit thin.
We found the main YouTube channel, of course, youtube.com at MUSTBEIN. But then another source mentions MUSTBEIN, FKA Bean. Now, FKA is just formally known as. Why is that detail interesting?
Because it hints at a history. It suggests a rebrand or some past identity they're either moving away from or trying to absorb into this new thing. It tells you they aren't a blank slate. There's baggage there. Or maybe old equity, depending on your view.
And the approach to other platforms feels a little scattered.
Yeah.
We found a Pinterest profile, MustBeIn.com, and the detail that tells the story is that it has just one pin.
One single pin.
But it also has a note next to it. 1 meter promo.
See, that tells you everything about their strategy. They aren't using Pinterest to share content. They're using it as a signal. Just planting a flag in a high-traffic area to claim the name and signal their reach, the 1 million in promotion, without actually doing the work.
It's ubiquity without substance.
Exactly.
And we also have the boilerplate Google Sites file, just basic web activity to show up in searches. So they're setting up the territory. But if you're expecting the content to match that Singapore C-suite pitch, well, you're in for a shock.
And this is where that Schrodinger's brand idea becomes almost frighteningly accurate. The whiplash between that high finance identity and what comes next. It's what makes this whole brand so unstable.
Wait, okay, let's pull up this next source.
Yeah.
This is where it just goes completely off the rails. We found a profile for MustBein on a site called subscribestar.adult.
Which is an explicit age-gated platform. It's for adult content creators.
Right. To even get on the site, you have to click a button confirming you're over 18
Mm.
because it's for age-restricted content.
Yeah.
We have jumped from a Singapore high-rise to a totally different universe.
It's a full throttle pivot. I mean, the tags on the profile, they really define what kind of content they're planning.
And we have to read these exactly as they are in the source because the contrast is just, it's everything.
The tags are AI, must be an explicit, NSFW content, 18 plus adult, gay, LGBT, porno, films.
A world away from improving visibility and credibility.
A world away. And the mix of AI with explicit and porno is very modern. It suggests a very specific, tech-driven approach to adult content. That is a niche audience that has zero, and I mean zero, overlap with their corporate pitch.
And what's interesting is the status of this profile. The source says it's under review because of a high volume of new creators, so it's not fully active yet.
But it's primed. It's ready to go. They've already uploaded the minimum 2 sample posts. All the paperwork is done.
It's an asset ready to fire. And we have to come back to the geography here. The billion-dollar pitch was anchored in Singapore. This adult content profile is legally tied to a completely different entity in a different country.
Starkling, LLC, based in Sheridan, Wyoming.
Why?
It's more than a content shift. It's a structural one. Singapore signals stability. Wyoming is known for, easy incorporation and privacy. They've set up 2 totally distinct legal footprints for the same asset. One for prestige, one for operational efficiency in a, let's say, high controversy space.
So, same domain, 2 opposite identities, 2 different legal and geographical footprints. Is the strategy just to create controversy?
Yeah.
To go viral by being undefinable?
That's the core question, isn't it? For you, the learner, you have to wonder if the value here isn't in its use, but in its instability, in the shock value.
But hang on, because there's actually a third identity we need to talk about.
Yes, the final piece of this puzzle. It's the brand's presence on Rumble, the alternative media platform. This pivots them away from the boardroom and the bedroom and straight into the political arena.
And their MUSTBEIN profile on Rumble is verified. So they've met the platform's criteria for authenticity, which gives them a bit of credibility there. But the engagement is super low, right? Our source mentions a video, something like, "For Max must be in rumble.com," and it only had 4 views after several days.
Right. Low engagement, but verified status. That suggests they're focused on establishing the platform itself, not necessarily driving views just yet. But the real insight comes from the ecosystem around them on the site.
The other channels.
Exactly. The channels that Rumble features and suggests alongside MUSTBEIN. That list is basically an index of their target audience on that platform.
And when you look at that list, you see channels like Donald J. Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, The Charlie Kirk Show, Newsmax, Rebel News, Tim Castorell, Redacted News.
That is not an accident. The sources put the MUSTBEIN account right in the middle of that very specific alternative and conservative media world. And being impartial here, not endorsing anything, the data shows the brand is either seeking or being grouped with a very defined, politically charged demographic.
So they're trying to build recognition among 3 completely separate audiences. The global C-suite, consumers of explicit AI-generated adult material, and the audience for conservative and alternative news.
It's a trifecta of conflicting missions. You're either the global corporate authority or the Wyoming LLC making adult content, or a verified voice in a political media sphere, and somehow this brand is trying to be all 3 at once.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner, when you're trying to figure out digital value?
We have one domain, MUSTBEIN.com. It's valued at over $3 billion.
And it's simultaneously marketed as a high-end corporate platform tied to Singapore.
An explicit AI-driven adult content brand linked to Wyoming.
And a verified participant in the alternative media space.
What are they even selling then?
I think they're selling optionality, the potential to pivot into any of these 3, extremely lucrative but totally separate markets. They've done the groundwork to establish a foothold in these opposing cultural niches. So the question is, are potential buyers looking at the brand, the controversy, or just the sheer audacity of trying to claim every niche possible? Maybe the shock value is the marketing.
And that makes an acquisition decision incredibly difficult. Imagine a big traditional company buys this domain. To justify that price tag, the first thing they'd have to do is scrub all the explicit and political stuff.
Of course.
But in doing that, they'd destroy all the traffic and brand recognition built in those other spaces. They would literally be diminishing the value of the asset they just paid billions for.
Which brings us right back to the central question. With the $3 billion price tag, is the real value in its clean corporate potential? Or is the profit locked up in the shock, the viral buzz of its contradictory existence? You have to decide which version of this brand is actually worth the money.
And that's the final thought we'll leave you with. When a brand's identity is a permanent paradox, when it successfully holds territory in opposing worlds, where does its maximum value lie? Is it in forcing it to be clean and credible, or in maintaining that profitable, deliberate state of chaos? Something to think about.